Whoopi and Sonny are going at it again, folks. This time going after Bill Maher. Yes, Bill Maher, the last bit of sanity on the left. I'm Rob on the right. Let's go take a look.
The Wall Street Journal claims that the shift to the right in this election reveals that Americans view themselves as belonging to a particular economic class more than their race and gender. And Bill Maher said it's not the only thing Democrats got wrong. Take a look.
Someone must tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Now, Bill Maher might not be everyone's cup of tea, but let's face it, he's one of the few voices on the left that hasn't completely lost the plot. Bill stands against identity politics, and that alone makes him a target for the likes of Sonny Hostin, who seems to need the race card like a baby needs a mother. Now, before we take a look at what the witches over at The View have to say about Bill's comments, please hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It would really help me reach a wider audience.
But what do y'all think?
I just, I know that as a country, it's very difficult for people to believe that racism and misogyny, they're just alive and well. I think that we don't want to think that about ourselves, our neighbors, our friends, but it's my lived experience tells me that it does still exist, even if your lived experience doesn't tell you that it exists. And, the facts support that. I think we have a graph. If you look at there's a clear racial divide in who voted for Trump as opposed to who voted for Kamala Harris. It's very clear. It's not only clear by race, but it's also clear by education. And so the notion somehow that that is not true, this is by education. Those who attended college voted for her at a higher degree than those that didn't.
But I think
I've
you're
said
missing
that.
his point.
Let me just finish. And so I've said that before, and there was so much backlash because I think it's an uncomfortable, inconvenient truth about this country.
But his whole point is they didn't vote for him because of racism and misogyny. They voted for him because they felt like, I think the biggest common denominator in this election is people want a good life and ability to provide for their family.
Well,
and whether we agree or not with Donald Trump's plans,
black people
they thought that he was reflective.
One of the poorest demographics in this country, but they voted for Kamala Harris.
But there was a split, and more of them voted for Donald Trump than had historically. I think that there's such a desire. If you really think the vast majority of this country voted because of racism and misogyny, you're missing it. Most of my family, a lot of my family doesn't have college degrees.
But the stats are the stats.
But that's not, it doesn't say I'm white, I voted for Donald Trump because of racism. That's not what What stat are you talking about?
Let me just dissect the two.
Yes, you can.
Now here's the kicker. The same people that have hyper-racialized everything, they've created the very tensions that they claim to fight against. When you institutionalize racism, constantly label people, and make race the deciding factor for jobs or college admissions, guess what? You're not solving racism, you're fueling it. But the fallout doesn't end there. The View is flailing so hard that the execs are planning to bring in a real conservative. Yes, an actual one this time. Not just their usual pet conservatives. Why? Because nobody wants to hear Alyssa's nonsense anymore. And it's not just The View that's in trouble. MSNBC is reportedly up for sale, and CNN is collapsing, and massive layoffs are on the horizon. The American public is waking up, folks, and they're done with being spoon-fed hyperbolic nonsense about racism and sexism while the real issues get ignored. It's clear the tide is turning and the mainstream narrative is on life support. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you want to watch one of my other videos, there's one right over here, and then there's another one right over here. Really, you should check them out. And if not, see you around the campus.